This time around I'm going to throw a bowl with a split rim, just a decorative sort of thing that you can do on your piece. I'm going to get the clay centered. Remember, the more you practice centering, the easier it'll be, the faster you'll be able to go. When you're starting out, take your time, get that centering right, make sure you take your time and get the wedging right as well. So with the bowl, I'm going to center it a little bit lower than I would with the cylinder, a little bit wider than it is tall. And then I'm going to go ahead and drill my hole. I won't drill my hole as deep as I would with the cylinder form. I'm going to compress my rim. And then after I've drilled my hole, I'm going to open out my floor. Remember, you're bringing your fingertips up a little bit as you come out. As soon as your outside hand wants to move, you're done with that step. Now I'm going to grab my sponge and work on pulling up this wall. Now with a split rim like I'm going to do here, a couple things are important. You've got to keep that rim, a little bit thicker than you otherwise would have it. And you want to get it nice and even. And obviously I've gotten this way off of even, as you can see. So how do I take a piece that's not quite even and make it even? Well, I'm going to use my needle tool and I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to go ahead and flatten my floor first. Round my floor, rib my floor. Like with centering and wedging, the metal rib is one that takes a lot of practice. Make sure you're practicing using it. Don't be afraid of it. It'll make your bowls look a lot nicer. So I'm going to use my needle tool to cut this off. Make sure it's nice and straight. And now I should be able to split this rim. I'm going to use my sponge and just slightly round those edges so they aren't sharp later on. I'm going to fold that sponge over the top. And now I'm going to use my wooden knife, the blade of my wooden knife, to cut a line, cut a split into this rim. Now it's important that your bowl have a thick rim, that rim is even, and that rim not be really far, wide, real skinny underneath. You've got to have some strength in the wall for this to work. But I'm going to take this blade and I'm going to bring it down into the clay, and then I can slightly angle this out to get that outside rim to move a little bit. Now if your sponge is narrow enough or your space is big enough, you can shape that rim with the sponge, otherwise you can get a chamois in there. You can also get in underneath if you've got some extra thickness down there and continue to pull this wall up a little bit. Now lots of times with a split rim on a decorative piece like this, you're splitting it so that you can play with it. You can do something decorative. And so that's what I'm going to do with this particular piece here. I'm going to take my wooden knife. I'm going to stop my wheel. I'm going to take my wooden knife and I'm just going to press this in. Some people like to use a guide so that they get these completely even. I tend to just kind of wing it. Just kind of hope that I've got them fairly even. I'm doing a split here that divides it in half and then divides that section in half to get this little flower decorative piece. Oops, and I did that one a little funny. Now that I've got this rim shaped, I don't want to do a lot more, but I see some kind of roughness and a little bit of a bump here, so I'm going to get that rib and that inside edge again, just so it makes me a little happier. Now I can use any of the variety of my knives to get this undercut going here. I'm going to use the wooden knife again, because this shape is one that it's a little trickier to get the water inside of there to get it to hydroplane. If I'm going to make this particular piece hydroplane, I'm going to drag some water, or drip some water down the edge of my knife, and it gets inside of that area there. So if I use my needle tool, I can get that strip to hydroplane, and it comes off fairly quickly, fairly easily. Wire this guy off of here and put it on my board.